Hello there, this is Honest Klaud, and I'm Eric Elliott, and I'm here with my guest, Gerry from Bombadcast. Now, Gerry, can you explain what is Bombadcast? What is Bombad?
Many scholars have tried over the short amount of time that we have been gracing YouTube and people's ears before that. But
Mhm.
Bombadcast is basically a weekly Star Wars slash pop culture slash just bat. May I cuss?
Yeah, oh,
Or
yeah,
is
yeah,
this? Oh, it's just batshit insane.
yeah.
is is
Mhm.
is what Bombadcast is, and if you're a fan of weirdness and pop culture and junk like that, we usually have a lot of fun hanging out. So,
Yeah. This is not intended to be a family show.
oh,
Uh,
thank Christ! Oh, fuck, man. No, I was worried. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Right, get it right up top.
yeah.
Uh, but
Um,
no, thanks for having me on, man. I'm
oh, of
excited.
course.
I'm ready to. I'm happy to
Um,
be here.
yeah, and for people that don't know, you are one half of the hosts of Bombadcast.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
very frequently, with Scotty J. Rowe, not to be confused with Scotty Holiday, who I had last time.
No, and
Okay.
Scotty Holiday, typically people's favorite Scotty is Scotty Holiday. So
Mhm.
from what I've heard.
Mhm.
Um and I don't know. It's I don't
I love
don't tell
Holiday.
Scotty I said that though.
Scotty, both Scotty's going to see this. You're very likely, if I'm going to get Scotty J. Rowe up here, you'll be sandwiched between two Scotties.
That's true. Well, I mean, that's that story of my life, man. I mean, come on. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all my entire YouTube career has been is just sandwiched between two Scotties. It's just yeah, the
Yeah,
whole time.
but you've had other notable guests that already have their own YouTube presence, like you have Alden Diaz, you have it was Jared, and you have
Yeah.
Boop.
Loser. Not Boop. Jared. Jared is a loser. But yeah, we've had mainly winners. Mainly winners
Yeah,
on.
and you've reached to I would argue the height of guests as far as popularity and not being an asshole. Alex and Molly Damon, like because I don't have a lot of I've lost a lot of respect for Star Wars theory. Let's just say that
Star Wars theory.
It's a gateway drug to more grifty types.
It's I mean, man, I'll never remember, excuse me, that what am I saying? I'll always remember at Celebration 25. I wish I could never remember this again, but I ran it I saw I was like 5 feet away from Star Wars Theory and some neckbeard, and I apologize if it was anyone listening, was just like going on and on about how they appreciate their content. And it was just like, he's just so good. I just love it so much. Just go, thank you, thank you. So I was this close to someone kissing Star Wars Theory's ass. And I knew who he was at the time because this was like, again, 2019 Chicago. We were like ready for, I don't know, J.J. Abrams to knock the roof off the place and
Mhm.
everything like that. I met Scotty J. Rowe that year. But yeah, no, Star Wars Theory. Um, I've known for, I've, that that man, why am I going on a tirade about him? I don't know, but like anyway, yeah, I was like this close to someone kissing Star Wars Theory's ass in real life, so it happens in real life too.
I mean,
So
it's
it's
it's hard to ignore him because he is the biggest Star Wars YouTuber. Period.
he
Um,
is, yeah.
just like if we were,
He looks
uh,
like Professor X too. It's just like from the '90s cartoon.
but I'm just like if we were like exclusively video game YouTubers, like eventually we had to bring up the name of PewDiePie because he is the biggest. Like
Yeah,
whether that's for good or for bad.
right.
Um, Now, of
We
course,
haven't had him on Bombadcast, so that's I guess, is that a W or that's a W, right? Yeah, yeah, we'll go with that.
I'll count that as a W because even though you're gonna get the clicks, you won't be able to sleep with you
No, I mean,
more properly.
We could have him on like Animaniacs style, like me and Scotty be like the Warner Brothers or something, and just like absolutely annoy the shit out of him. Like we would probably be good at that.
Mhm.
No, I can't. I don't need to say that because now people are gonna want that, and we don't need to do that.
But of course, like something that I've been talking about for past couple episodes is the WJ and the SAG strike, which
Mm,
I don't think I had to say it, but we are in solidarity with them. We hope that they get what they're owed for making these billionaires, uber rich for their
mm,
hard work. Um,
absolutely.
and I've said in a previous episode, I'm just like, if there is a new project coming out, I don't see it as inherently immoral to pirate it if nothing is going to these writers and actors.
Mm,
And I've talked about, like, I know a lot of people just they hate even the concept of that being brought up, but I'm just like, who cares if you go to a somewhat shady site and get a bunch of pop-ups to watch the last episode of Secret Invasion? Who cares? I'm like,
yeah.
the money that you would have spent on whatever project, you could be given to one of these various organizations that are helping these people survive when they're on strike. Because what happens when you're on strike is that people go hungry,
Yeah.
and these families don't deserve that.
No, 100% not. No, no, yeah, and so we're also very much in solidarity with these unions and everything. And we will be covering Ahsoka coming out, but we are going to plaster our support all over it. We've already talked. We're gonna use our platform to push these charities that you can give to help these people the whole time. And so because we wouldn't have any of that shit without the
Yeah.
people who are striking right now.
Well,
And so they are them and their families deserve nothing but simple, like everyone, every every family, every worker deserves to have a livable wage, and
yeah.
that doesn't even happen. Like even for me with the job that I have is bare like I'm barely hanging on, right? Because YouTube is not my career, by the way. For those of you watching everything, like I have a real a real job, like a human.
He's not that big yet.
No, no, no. Like a big human. I'm a normal human being. I have a yeah. But regular human jobs, even dream job, like especially dream jobs, even dream jobs, don't pay their people like they need to.
Or
And it's just
it
all
could just
this
be
corporate greed and things like that.
like, even if they do pay relatively well, like if you are like the entrepreneur, like you're putting your own money to make sure the lights are running.
Yep.
So and you also have to pay whatever workers you like employ. So ultimately, I'm going to very subtly, keep indoctrinating my audience to socialism, but we'll see how it works.
Yes, slowly but surely, it is
Yeah,
ours. Yes,
yeah,
that's exactly right. No, no,
yeah.
that's right. That's right.
Maybe by episode 50, like my audience will be fully aware of what the term proletariat is.
There we go. There we go. Listen, hey, man, I'm full comrade with you. Okay, here we go. We're good. We're good.
Um, Now, okay, so how did you get into Star Wars?
Just like as most people do. Well, I don't like it's okay. So I was born in 1987, right? And so I grew up primarily in the 90s after
Hmm.
everything came out. Like so, in the quote unquote dark times.
Yeah.
Um, Early on, and again, everyone knows I've told this a bunch of times. Like I'm big into Ghostbusters. You can see I got like my
No, we're going to talk about
table book down
Ghostbusters
there.
eventually.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. I've got my Ecto One and Jabba right here in the same place. But you know, uh, like most people in the '90s, like Star Wars came on TV, and it was just kind of like there. And like I had like a cousin who was big into Star Wars and everything, who was like several years, like he was like a teenager when I was like a little toddler. And
Mhm.
I remember like him telling me about it and everything. I was big into Thundar the Barbarian for a little bit because he had the sun sword, and I was like, oh cool. And then he's like, yeah, Star Wars has sun swords, but they're cooler. I'm like, what are you
The
talking about?
plasma.
Yeah, what the hell are you talking about, man? um and then I remember seeing, so I don't remember what exactly came first, but I remember seeing like like the duel on Cloud City, uh between Vader and
Yeah,
Luke, when they're out like in the big tunnel, the big wind
mhm,
tunnel.
yeah.
And then so my other earliest memory is being at my grandmother's house, and it was either maybe it was Empire Strikes Back on too. But it was like the part with Yoda. I remember being like a little like creeped out by the whole like atmosphere with Yoda for some reason when I was
Yeah.
little. But it just kind of stuck. And then my parents got me. I have my original trilogy, my Faces edition right here, that is from my house down south, where my parents bought me that the year it came out. Get it, see it, the originals, for the last time, kind of thing. Right before the special editions came out, and I just didn't look back from there. I think it was like 1995 by the time I was fully indoctrinated
Mhm.
into it, and so yeah, it's just been on and off through there. I had Masters of the Terrace Kasi I would play like on my PlayStation, like when I was like old enough, and
Yeah.
um, all these different things. Man, it really took off for me whenever I saw the special editions in theaters, though.
Mhm.
Like that is where like going and seeing them all in the theater, and my parents took me to every one of them. Um, and I just I will be eternally grateful to them for that. My parents, it's funny, aren't like super movie buffs and
Yeah.
everything, but they liked movies enough that they took me to enough of them because I loved them, that
Mhm.
they took me to Jurassic Park at the tender age of 6, which they probably shouldn't have, but I mean, it stuck with me, all of this kind of good stuff. And I just appreciate them taking me to see these formative,
I watched way worse when I was 6. I can tell you that
yeah.
right now.
Well, I know. Well, I grew up very like my parents are still very religious and everything, and I was very religious, and so it was not very many religious households though. Um, allow that kind like that much kind of stuff like that. Like my parents were never in the whole like, oh, Harry Potter's the devil and everything, and now we know that
I mean,
the
they
create.
wouldn't show you Jurassic Park. It's just like
Yeah,
dinosaurs.
exactly.
That's not in the good book.
Yeah, exactly. And like that my parents were never the kind of like dinosaurs never existed. They were never those kind of people and stuff. And so I've always appreciated them. Um, doing that, like being the type of religious people who are like, I don't give a fuck. You
I'm
know?
glad. I'm glad they're not one of the religious folks who just like, oh, there's dinosaur bones. They're put there by Satan.
No, they weren't, they were never that.
I have
But
heard that from somebody. I'm just like, no, that's not
my
how this works.
parents my parents took me, this is just this is just a thing that happened in the 80s and 90s, is no one gave a shit about what ratings meant. And
Mm.
they didn't, unless it was rated R, but like they like PG-13 was a relatively new thing when I was born, right? Like it had just
But
like
at the same time, like like kids were still watching RoboCop and they were selling toys and they did a
they
cartoon.
sold toys. They sold toys for every like Alien. I had Alien toys. Never
Yeah.
saw Alien until I got way older.
It's not like how we are today, where like hot toys are not made for like kids; they're made for adult collectors.
They
No,
marketed
future
everything to kids.
children. Yep.
Yes. And like my parents took me to see Ghostbusters too. I've said millions of times on the, uh, was on Bombadcast, like 1989. I was 3 years old, and they took me to see Ghostbusters too because my 16-year-old cousin liked it or something. And they were like, oh, okay, well, it's good for kids. And they took me to see it. And it is. It's not bad. But it's just like, again, when you have religious parents, it's just kind of, my parents were the odd ones out that were like, hey, it's just ghosts, it's
Mhm.
fine. Like
Well, I like.
they had
Mhm.
none of the witchcraft things or anything like that. My parents were just real chill about movies.
Yeah,
So
like I mean, even for Ghostbusters 2, like I remember it was on TV, and my little brother, who was I think 6 or 7 at the time, just looked out for a bit, and he was freaked out with so much anxiety about like the baby in the stroller just going across the city. Like
oh
he
man.
was genuinely afraid for this baby, even though he knows it's a movie.
Right. Well, see, it is like horror for kids,
Yeah.
Ghostbusters a little bit, and I mean, I find myself at this age now being a father and everything too. Like I've got a 6-year-old, and she's kind of like she likes to watch me play that Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed game. It's just kind of fun, which is honest. That's rated E10 and up. Actually, by the way, that Ghostbusters game,
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know why that. It's just interesting to me. But I've thought like, man, Ghostbusters isn't that bad for like, except for the first one where there's like a scene where a ghost gives one of the guys. It's heavily implied by the undoing of his pants that
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd gets a ghost blowy.
Mhm.
And that's the only part that I'm like, I don't know about
Yeah.
that. But there's like, like I mean, Ghostbusters is basically horror for like 10-year-olds and
Yeah.
everything like that. Like it's just
And
it's
that's how I feel about Temple of Doom, and that's why I think
yeah.
it works so well.
It's got those scary elements and like, I don't want to because I feel like wow, I was about to sound very boomery. I was gonna say, I feel like kids are kind of like parents kind of like
Shelter
very
them.
much they shelter them from a lot, which is good. We should because a lot of us who grew up in that time were fucked up. But I don't believe like I think that there's like something like just certain movies. It's like Indiana Jones and stuff like that. It's like I don't know, man. Like we turned
Mhm.
out decent. Like I'm
Yeah.
not like going around like doing anything like terrible. Like it's uh I just yeah. Anyway, I just sound more boomery by the second.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
fun,
at the same
but
time, I think there's a certain age, but it's not consistent for children of
yeah,
when they can separate fiction from reality. Uh,
right,
they can see like, okay, this is not how I'm supposed to act. It's just how this character is acting. But at the same time, when
right.
I was like 4, I had already seen Ghost in the Shell. I've seen Akira.
Wow.
I saw Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh,
that,
geez.
that one gave me a bad nightmare. That one gave me a real bad nightmare.
See, I still have like I stayed away from horror until late in life. My
Yeah.
parents did not touch it, so I'm like I haven't honestly I haven't seen the original Nightmare on Elm Street. I need
Mhm.
to see this kind of stuff, but like it does give you like a you kind of a little wimp if you don't watch that stuff early on. You know what I mean? A little
Mhm.
bit.
Mhm.
But it's like anyway, no, it's again, if you're not into horror, it's fine. It
Mhm.
is what it is. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I remember I bought a Halloween decoration back when I was in college, and it was like a crawling hand. And like thing, but it was like all Frankenstein-y looking or whatever.
Mhm.
And I was purchasing it. I was in the like it was at Walmart. We were in the checkout line, and this kid in front of me goes, "Oh, that's from." I think he said Friday the 13th part 2 or so like that looks like the hand from I don't know what it's he mentioned some horror film and at the time I still was not super into horror. I was just like out of
Mhm.
high school. And I remember going like this kid was like he had to be 4 or something. He was very young, and I remember going like,
Mhm.
"I haven't even seen that movie." Like, damn, dude.
See, I mean, I know from like 6 on, like
Yeah.
practically every weekend, I was watching whatever came on Adult Swim.
See, yeah, well, like Adult Swim popped up when I was going into college and everything like that. Like I
Yeah.
remember I also remember Adult Swim. I was so uh just goody two shoes, like just without a clue and without brain one. It felt like whenever I saw Adult Swim, I did not think adult animation. I was just like, oh, cool, late night cartoons, neat. I'll check it out.
Mhm.
And I remember going like again because I was very religious at the time, going like, oh my, this is oh, this is different than what I thought it was gonna be. But I
Yeah,
loved it, right? I ended up that I was just watching that shit all the time, and it corrupted me.
yeah.
So, yeah. A
Now,
little corruption is good. A little corrupting
yeah.
is good. It humanizes you.
Unless if it's what something y'all watched recently, which was Ancient Prophecies. That's
That
going too far
if
because
you're watching Ancient Prophecies
it better be for a laugh.
seriously,
It better be for a
it
laugh.
oh man, well, I mean, especially at this point in time, you're just removed from you're like Captain America removed from time if you're watching it now. But just like yeah, the amount of controversial and very uh, what is things that
Here's the way
feel
to describe
very
it.
uncomfortable. Like
You know what's a good way to describe it?
what's
Is
that?
historical inaccuracy quackery.
Historical inaccuracy quackery, but also a lot of white nonsense. There's a lot of white nonsense in those old videos like that, man. I'm telling you, like as a white guy, like we are still on that bullshit. Like, but like they were like fucking on one with that with that ancient prophecy shit, man.
Yeah,
They were just
like
like, how
it's
did
like a
this happen? Blah blah
sprinkle.
blah. Anyway,
It's
it
like
was
a sprinkle of healing crystals and a sprinkle of QAnon. Just
spring. It was like QAnon. Like it was the seeds of QAnon. It was I don't. It was like the chia pet that would later be sprout to be QAnon, right? And it just
yeah.
like it just reeked of like white people being like, how did this happen? Whoa! You just kind of it fucking ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, um all of that aside, yeah, I wouldn't show that to children for sure.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's
Like
um
it's a very interesting introduction to a clone army.
yes, a clone. Dude, I forgot about that.
Hey, forget about that. That's
Ah,
one of the most memorable things, including for those who don't know, it was a like around '93 like VHS documentary using that in quote
yeah.
of
It was like,
like trying
yeah,
to
right in
prove
the sweet spot of 94 or something.
yeah to prove that Nostradamus is able to predict everything that's happened in the past 50 years up until then, including the assassination of like John F. Kennedy and like
Mm.
the first attack on the World Trade Center in the '90s. I'm just like what and as you put it, Nostradamus is
Well,
played by quote unquote evil kidnapsack.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It did. Yeah, that was. It was someone who looked a lot like Ken Napsok playing
Mhm.
him back then. I'm not gonna put it on Ken because I don't think Ken was that old back then. But geez, it was
And
very
just so
uncomfortable.
people
A
know,
little too much Nazi imagery in that thing too.
or as
I
I
mean,
said,
they went wild with that.
for YouTube's sake, I said, they're just Lego Indiana Jones Germans.
Yes, yeah, Germans.
Yeah,
It's like, "Ew, ew." All right, guys.
because they didn't want to put a swastika into a children's video game, which I understand.
It's odd. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. We all may have to make decisions. I guess it's fine.
Yeah, um, but yeah, like it's just odd. What was it? They also had a guy that was supposed to be like reading into the future, and like he was just like keep waking up, and like his eyes would flicker, and I was joking around saying he was having a wet dream.
If it seemed like it. Oh yeah. What is that? I'm trying to remember. A famous psychic, which I didn't remember that was exactly how they did it, but like they would have him. My favorite thing, that was my favorite part. We need to clip this somehow.
I'll make sure
Whenever
to put in a card so people can actually find your video because
go find the video and watch it, guys. But like, yeah, that you're talking about that psychic who you know only predicts when he's sleeping, like talks in his sleep, and like he's I'm I don't have visual with the child. Did we get it? Like just like the difference from like trance voice to regular voice was so dramatic that
Yeah.
it blew it that was comedic genius that blew my mind. But anyway, go watch our Ancient Prophecies. And Eric, you can't give me shit for not remembering parts of that, because I drank an entire bottle of red wine. So me and Scotty were pretty sloshed by the end of that thing.
Yeah.
So
Don't worry, I'll remember for you.
I appreciate it. That happens a lot.
Now, I don't think you were in that video, but one of my favorite videos from Bob Madcast is that you had a comedian play "quote unquote" Space Alex Jones, who was just like a conspiracy theorist, just
That was
like,
me.
huh?
I was Space Alex Jones.
I thought it was wait, was it like dubbed? Like I remember there was like a different guy that was doing the voice. Am I
Oh
tripping?
no. Oh no, you're tripping.
Okay.
That was all me. We did have designs for one, but then we ended up scrapping it with kind of all the shit going on with Alex Jones continues to be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So we kind of scrapped a lot of our future plans with that character, but
Mm.
that Alex
He became too fringe, even too parody.
he became a thing where it was it was right after he got absolutely shit canned by the well deservedly by the families of Sandy Hook, like the
Yeah.
Sandy Hook families.
Yeah.
He got reamed, and that was great. And then, but after that, I was like, I just don't feel great doing like a funny haha like character like
Mm-hmm.
that. But who knows? Maybe he'll make an appearance sometime. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was yours truly. I shaved and I put on silly voice.
Okay.
But anyway, please continue.
But,
Please continue.
yeah, like I love his incoherent rant about Chancellor Valorum from the Phantom Menace. And if you don't know who that is, audience, he's the guy who looks like Sting, but it's not Sting.
No, yeah.
He's
Terrence Stamp.
before. Yeah,
Yeah.
Terrence Stamp.
Terrence Stamp.
Yeah.
That's the best Terrence Stamp I got. I can't do much. But yeah, so the premise behind those was like the first one was supposed to be like right after the events of the Phantom Menace, and the second one was supposed to be right after Attack of the Clones. But we couldn't get all the people who wanted to be involved with the second one weren't quite as on board with the time period. So they were coming on like trying to say shit about like Darth Vader, like, oh, what are you talking about, man? Like, what are you talking about?
It's like
So
maybe you need another high profile conspiracy theorist to make fun of. Like
yeah.
maybe you need someone to do impression of was it James David Manning?
Ooh, possibly something like that, like one of those absolutely just they're all enormous diaper babies. So it's
Well, if you don't know who James David Manning is, he's the one that's known for talking about fire coming out of buttholes
oh my
online.
god, that's the one we've got. That's our clip, isn't it?
That's his name.
Oh man, I never happened to learn the man's name because of the things he was saying about
Yeah,
about the
it's all awful.
LGBTQ
It's all
plus community.
awful and stupid.
But yeah, no, yeah, man, or just like keep playing that clip over and over again or something.
Yeah,
Ask questions, be like,
yeah.
yeah. Anyway.
The only impression that I can do for a long period of time is Barack Obama. That's the only
Yeah,
one I can do for multiple hours.
I get you. Hey, that's not a bad one. That's not a bad one, man.
Um,
But yeah, it's we've done some yeah. We do a little bit of character work and things like that, but our character work is very like it's like the bottom of the barrel character work
I mean,
that
it's so
Scotty and
funny.
I do. Yeah,
You know?
as long as it makes people laugh, that's what we've always just kind of like, again, as long as it makes people laugh and we're not being assholes, like then
Yeah,
that's our goal. So
yeah. I mean, like some of the clips he used, I'm just like I'm not feeling. So some of them are just creepy, like the mustachioed puppet at the end of your videos. Like I'm not
oh
feeling that guy at all. That's just creepy.
Yeah, the so you're not a Pasquale fan at all? Huh?
No, enough of college
His
man.
mustache does seem like it's a piece of cardboard covered in hair. It just seems too solid for him. But yeah, and also it moves too independently of his face. I understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so that's always kind of been our niche is like this. Scotty and I have this both have different senses of humor, but they
Mm,
meet like puzzle pieces into this very and they make what Bombay Guest is something that's very sometimes dry but very unhinged yet sort of creepy but in a fun way like in a what the fuck is
yeah.
going on kind of way. And so yeah, uh there are some clips that I'm surprised that people just haven't absolutely demanded the show be taken down forever for just simply from the like that was the most fucked up thing I've ever seen. Get the hell off the internet right now. With the lobster man thing, lobster man, lobster boy,
Mhm.
kind of thing. We haven't shown that in a while. That's a punishment clip for if the chat misbehaves. But
Um, okay.
anyway,
Uh,
anyway,
but yeah, like I've been on your channel just showing my face at least 3 times for
yeah.
Scotty eating crawfish. Um, you know, for your celebration of what was it, 4 years on YouTube.
Yes, yeah, we our 4-year anniversary, you showed up, absolutely.
Yeah, after 4 hours of waiting, I got up there.
That was that was a huge fucking show, man. Like,
Mhm.
we couldn't believe, like, how many people we kept, like people would pop out and we had to have people, like, pop in, like, "Oh my god." How many people like
I was
us?
thinking to myself, I'm like, how do you like just sit there and not have to use the bathroom that long?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but again, very happy that you made it through that, but also our apologies for
Yeah.
that.
And I was on there. What was it, 3 or 4 days ago? When you were talking
Yes.
about your Rebels appreciation
Our
slash recap.
Yeah, our Rebels hype session for the upcoming Ahsoka. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's where we get the infamous quote of "Bet on Black."
Yeah. Oh God, that was when you pulled that. I was like that took me off my feet. I was like, no, Eric. Why?"
I mean, at least it was
So
me making a joke.
yeah, I was gonna say, well, no, me and Scotty make the joke, then you torpedo us, please. Like, we need to like take us out. We're not the ones to make that joke, but that was so fucking. I was losing my shit. That was great. Oh god,
But like even
nailed us, nailed
like
us.
I way more frequently show up on SSW Network,
Right.
with Pete and Nick and them, and because like they do the Friday night calls, and I be known as the quote unquote Cal Ripken of streaming Star Wars because I've shown up more than anybody has. I've
Yeah.
even beat the record of, I don't know if you're familiar with his name, but Angry Tasty Cakes. He was right
I
behind.
know of Angry Tasty Cakes. Yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. So you're
Yeah,
you're starting records and stuff. You're smashing records.
yeah.
Okay, I
I,
like it. I like
I,
it.
I am now known as the guy who talks about my Zillow Ray conspiracy. Now, are you
Yeah,
familiar with my Zillow Ray conspiracy? Have you been explaining this? Have you
I
seen the video of me talking about it?
want to. I've heard of it. I
Mhm.
don't know if I've heard the details though.
Okay,
Actually,
I got you covered.
you did bring it up this last week, I believe, or something, or you've brought it up. You've brought it up recently, at least. I feel like.
Sometimes I just bring it up as like, well, sometimes I'm selling a shirt of it, or well, I'm bringing it as
Right.
a joke. And Chris, like me have like a kind of a slight goofy feud about him like being upset every time I bring it up on the channel. Yeah. Okay,
Chris is great at that. Oh yeah.
so we know Ray
Yeah.
from the sequel trilogy. Now, in Rise of Skywalker, we get a big bombshell retcon that she is genetically related to the Emperor.
Right.
and it's the reanimated version of the Emperor that she's related to, right?
Right.
Now, in the TV show Bad Batch, we see that Mount Tantus, which is the same organization that slash place with scientists, where they are responsible for the cloning of the Emperor, also brings in a giant Zillo beast.
Mhm.
In Rise of Skywalker, we see that Palpatine is able to become younger by absorbing electricity, become more powerful, and it's like, did they splice his genetics with Zilla Beast?
Yeah.
Therefore, if that's the case, Ray is part Zilla Beast.
That is insane, but I love it. Oh my god.
Now,
In the best way. In the best way.
I have other things that happen in the movies that I can use and just stretch far enough to say, well, this backs up my claim totally. Those things are after the Praetorian fight in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Clay has a really nasty burn. Now in Rise of Skywalker, they try to cover it up, but they put the band in the wrong section of her arm, so it's just
Okay.
healed. So I'm just like, well, what else heals? Lizards. She's able to calm the Vexus snake.
Mm.
And I said to Chris, lizard recognize lizard.
Yeah.
And when she meets the doppelganger evil version of herself,
Yeah.
she has sharp teeth.
Right.
Sharp razor teeth. So if we get the Rey movie, and either
Yeah.
she bites onto electrical cables or she starts shedding skin, you know who it was.
Hey, right back here. You come back to Honest to Claude. You tell Eric that he was damn right. You were damn right, Eric.
Yeah.
Oh man. I will say, as fan theories go on things like that, that's
It's nowhere
honestly
near the
like,
ridiculous.
I like that one. Like it's
It's
fun.
just plausible enough.
Yeah, it's just plausible enough, but with just enough amount of fun that it's like, like I'm not gonna be angry if this don't happen,
Yeah.
but listen, it's kind of fun, No, I love that. I love that. Yeah, no, and someday, maybe whenever again the Ray movie comes out and she has to, we see her bedroom, like at whatever Jedi temple she's created, and it's like a rock with a lamp over it or something, then we'll know. And then Chris will have to message you, be like, look, hey, I'm sorry, man. Like that was, or
Don't get me
publicly.
wrong. We all love Chris. He's a good guy.
Everybody, yeah. This is the opposite of that. Everybody hates Chris. Everyone loves Chris. So all love Chris.
Now, I brought up another conspiracy onto the channel that this one I don't believe. I just thought it was funny. I just like sometimes you just want to have a little fun. And this one
I
involved.
love dumb theories as long as they're not like too hotly debated. You know what I mean? Anyway, please go on. Please go on.
This one involves your boy Stan from Akator of Kingdom of Crystal Skull.
Yes, our current producer, Stan.
Yeah, you're chain smoking, possibly Newport, jacket wearing, possibly.
He's got two. Yeah,
creature from space between spaces, as the movie puts it. The conspiracy that I pose is like everyone's like, "Who's Snoke? Where's Snoke come from?" It's like I have it. Snoke is Mutt from King of the Crystal Skull.
So you've seen the new Indy, right? Like
yes, I have.
Spoilers for Indy. Spoilers for Indy. That adds so much more to that. Like when you're watching that scene where he's talking about Mutt in Dial of Destiny, and I cry, I'm now gonna be like, God damn it.
Okay, well, I came up with
another space another time.
I came up with conspiracy before the movie came out, but I already knew the information that he wasn't going to show up in the movie.
Right. Right.
But part of it, Shia LaBeouf, has like gone off the rails as the past couple of years.
I
That's
mean,
part of it.
that's a pretty healthy assumption. Yeah. No.
Yeah. But the conspiracy poses that, okay, so after the end of King of the Crystal Skull, why would none of the characters ever return to see like if there's any remains of the alien stuff? Like it just seems weird that it's just like, oh, that's that.
We learned a valuable lesson for humanity. I mean, that's
Yeah.
basically what it is. Yeah, right.
So sometimes when he wants to do an excavation and find some stuff there, he gets abducted. Now, with the idea, the concept that he went to Vietnam, this you can still roll this in because maybe he brought in like a fragment of the wall that has one of the ancient paintings on it. He brought it to Vietnam. He got abducted in Vietnam. Who cares? But the main thing is that the Akator creatures start doing experiments on him, and that's why he becomes all gray and lanky.
Ooh.
And they
hybrid program him.
Yeah. And by the whim of the emperor, they put a implant into his brain, so it taps into his anger.
Yeah,
that's what his changes are, and he becomes a template for more pickled Snokes in by Skywalker, and he is living vicariously through Kylo because he's like, "Your dad looks just like my dad. I want to have you kill him."
Han Solo. Yeah. See, now I've got headcanon that Snoke like called Palpatine whenever they had like phone calls, like Snoke would call Palpatine Daddy-O and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Daddy-O.
And the reason this popped in my head,
every now and then he'd like dip a comb in some Pepsi and like run it through whatever hairs were on his lumpy head. So,
and honestly, Snoke kind of looks like a very like MC Escher-esque like drawing of like really high MC Escher drawing of like Harrison Ford.
Right.
Like someone who was like really zooted, and that's what they came up with.
Yeah, it looks like if someone made Harrison Ford, if someone made Harrison Ford or Shia LaBeouf out of Play-Doh and then smushed it a little bit, like or dropped it on the carpet, face first onto the carpet,
It still has like crumbs like from when you ate chips on the clay.
Right. It's got a little bit of like, oh, there's some schmutz in there. Oh well. Oh, that took off the whole damn cheek. Oh fuck. All right. Well, that's okay. He's good.
But yeah, like the reason this popped in my head is because there was a previous episode where we it was just a whole episode talking about why we're still talking about Last Jedi, and I talked about how much I love that movie and why people went in with unrealistic expectations and they wanted their fan theories to be answered, and they weren't ready for a meta-contextual conversation about what is a hero and what does it mean for Luke. And I said we didn't need the backstory for Snoke. We don't need to see when he was a greaser.
Right.
And he did that little joke carried on for weeks. And I'm just like, wait, greaser, mutt. So that's the origin. If you're wondering, like, how did that crazy idea blossom?
Yeah. Well, I still see people are back on with Ahsoka coming out soon. They're looking for Ezra. People are back on the Snoke is Ezra theory and everything again. They're back on their bullshit. And honestly, I'm like, I think Eric, let's start pushing. No, Snoke is Mutt Williams.
I got a T-shirt for it though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yes, I do. If you go to my TeePublic, there's it just 4 drawings. It has Snoke, Mutt. It has the pyramid of Akator, I guess Ziggurat, and you have the Supremacy ship.
Yeah,
I kept it real simple.
It says it all. Like you should repost that. I want to share that. That's so.
I'll absolutely do that.
That's good. No, we're gonna start pushing this theory, okay? Like that's like honestly, this is right up me and Scotty's alley.
It's a very bad shit, crazy
Very
conspiracy.
bad theory for sure.
Now, another thing that I'm known for talking about, uh, on my own channel and on Streaming Star Wars, is that sometimes I get into conversations with Star Wars fans where they're just like they bring up an explanation for something for the books to explain something in the movies, and I'm just like sometimes the explanations are a bit far fetched or just kind of like they just had to do something.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'm just like, even though I appreciate the people that make it, sometimes like we gotta call a spade and not just let this fly and say it's perfect. Is like how Luke is absolute simp for his sister in the original trilogy.
He's yeah. They definitely made a horrible mistake like those early years.
It's like unintentionally, like well, one, George Lucas, fell ass backwards into incest writing, and unintentionally started making a plot for a somewhat trashy anime. Intentionally.
Right.
But yeah, like he begs for the recording to be reproduced by R2, and he like bites his lip, and as we know, Poe Dameron let us know what a bite the lip means.
Bite to the lip is a very intimate gesture, so you got to be careful who you bite your lip at at the grocery store. Okay,
in Legends,
you might end up married.
Yeah, in Legends, they were even more horny than they are in canon because they didn't know in advance because they immediately start making comics in at least one novel in between the episodes of the original trilogy. So we got Splinter Mind's Eye, where Luke has an internal monologue where he describes his sister's voice as being like a sweet fruit. And in the comics, they kiss at least 3 times. So yeah, like it was like no one was privy to it. You just like you dropped that retcon because in Return of the Jedi, because George Lucas was really big on the idea of like finding not just found family but finding relatives you didn't know about.
Right.
So, but George Lucas had basically no women in his movies. He wanted him to have a sister, so he's just like, "Well, Leia's right there, and we have everyone likes Leia.
Let's just put this thing together, man. We're good. We're good. It's
Yeah, and even in canon, that IDW also produces Star Wars comics. Okay, but they're mostly intended for a younger audience. But there's a frame in a mini story that they keep coming back to for like 3 or 4 issues, where Luke and Leia are the main characters, and Leia has a new outfit, and it's like right after New Hope, and he turns around and just kind of gawks at her. I'm just like, and they did that in like this is well past Disney acquisition.
Yeah,
they put this into a comic that's intended for kids, and it's just like they still put it in there. I think that's hilarious.
That is the Pornhub generation writing Star Wars right there. It's like Leia got stuck in the underneath the bed, the bunk in the Millennium Falcon or something. Like, you're gonna only one way to get me out. Like God forbid if there's a dryer. I mean, like hopefully not. But anyway, yeah, I listen. Just like that is Why is that a porn category, by the way? Got fucked by my stepmom. Listen, stop fucking the step family. It's not cool. It's not fun.
I mean, like as long as it's fiction, I don't care. If you like it and you get the box off of that, who cares? Like no
kink shame. No kink shame. I'm sorry. Yeah. But just like there seems like there's a fascination that is just like, man, All right, good for you, man. Like it's
Uh,
fine.
you know,
It's not
it's not like I
it's
ever
not
watch
gonna get
it.
back
No,
into the
I would.
fucking.
Eric Elliott, I would never watch something like that. I'm pure of heart.
Oh, I've never listen. I'm not saying I've never like. Come on, man. Like, I'm not watching these things for the plot. You know, like.
But anyway,
Anyway, Excuse me.
let's talk about Ghostbusters real quick before we get to the glove
Ooh,
shitter.
okay,
I
all right.
because you just dropped the intro for Extreme Ghostbusters. I had never even heard of it. That was the first time I ever saw any frames from that
Really?
show. So, well, I mean, it came out like right before I was born.
Yeah, it was like that mid '90s where, like, if it was to be cool in the '90s, it had to have extreme in the title. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the number one thing that immediately like okay that dates it real quick. It's
Right.
not like the Return or the new
It's like a
Ghostbusters. It's
grunge
extreme.
extreme Ghostbusters, and it's like a grunge like theme song with fucking Jim Cummings
Mhm.
doing the vocals for it, which Jim Cummings, fantastic. That man is talented. Like one of the most talented voices of all time. You got to be kidding me. Like Winnie the Pooh Bear, Hondo Onaka, and he does the Ghostbusters theme song. This man's been a part of my entire life.
Now,
Um,
I like some of the people in the actual cast of the show as well. Like we got Tara
there's a
Strong,
lot of yes.
who's been in like almost everything DC in the past 20 years.
Every cartoon, Tara Strong's in everything,
So
and I
yeah,
love it.
and
She's
respect her.
fantastic.
You could argue she is the goat as far
Yeah.
as voice
Oh,
acting. You could argue you can make
absolutely.
an easy argument for that. I feel like her best competition as far as just like the amount of that they're able to do is like D. Bradley Baker.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. But like even you've got some sitcom greats in there too,
You
you
have
know? We've got
Alfonso Ribeiro, Carlton.
yes. Fucking fantastic. And I didn't like I had no idea when I was a kid like watching this. And then like the who's the one who does the voice of Garrett? I know it's someone else from he's from another sitcom. He's
I
a
know
big time voice actor now.
the guy who does Garrett. Okay, okay. I just realized my audience has no idea what we're talking about.
Right.
Kylie is the goth girl.
Yes.
You have Eduardo, who is the Latin guy with a terrible goatee, and he's
He's the
not very good at reading. You have Garrett, who is a self-absorbed paraplegic in a wheelchair, and
who kicks unholy amounts of ass, by the way.
and you
Garrett
have
kicks so
Roland,
much ass.
who is the responsible black guy,
It's
who is
all
very who can't play the violin to save his life.
goddamn that. How ahead of its time was that show, by the way? Because it still is. I feel like it still holds up today. Myself, like with what I've seen and everything. Again, like I watched it back when I was a kid, everything, and to me, it's still. To me, it's one of the Ghostbusters cartoons that, like, real Ghostbusters is still great too. But this one, like, was on another level. Like this was
It
like,
has more bite. It has
yes,
they're
they
not
weren't
afraid to
afraid
go
to
a
be
little
a
more
little
disturbing.
scary.
Yeah,
Yeah. They went a little more scary and spooky in this one. And it was
like
based, it was a direct sequel of real Ghostbusters. It
yeah,
was
because
supposed to be.
Egon is like he's not that old, but he's like their old man Bruce Wayne type, and this is like the new
Yeah.
generation. He's like has to chaperone.
But like, just so I'm very, it makes me very happy that you found that show because of me. As you
Yeah,
say, like,
and I watched the first 12 episodes.
that makes me feel so good. There's some great there. I mean, there's some like it's some dated humor and stuff like that, but like it's honestly, it's still it's not like so bad that it like it's still I don't know. It's still got legs. I feel like
Yeah, I
it's
was surprised
like
the
it's
character mentioned Johnny
legitimately
Cochran.
funny. It's legitimately funny. Like in the first episode where he's talking to Kylie when she like Eduardo is like the ladies' man, Peter Venkman wannabe basically.
Mhm.
And when he's like into Kylie, and Kylie, when she's possessed, comes and talks to him, and they're like, "Dude, watch out!" He's
Mhm.
like, "What? She's
He's
18
18.
or
Yes, I
something?"
remember that
And I'm
line. Like
like,
that stuck in
I
my
was
brain
like,
so much.
"What the hell?"
And there's even an
It was a
episode
kid's
where
cartoon.
another character name drops Johnny Cochran, which I'm just like,
Yeah.
there's no way like a cartoon to be aired on Disney would ever do anything like that ever again.
No,
Like
no.
this was a like a bottled situation. Uh, and they also had an episode where they tackle anti-Semitism. That one blew my brain.
Dude, the episode with the Jewish temple at the beginning, yeah, it's what did they make, a homunculus or something or whatever that's attacking, or
It was a golem so
a
they
golem?
could
Yeah,
this is they could prevent from future people like attacking them because the building gets desecrated by people that don't like them. And I was just like,
yes,
wow, I never would have expected that to ever be brought up in a kids cartoon. And Roland talks about how I don't like the way they look at me because it's like it's very clear they don't want me around. I'm just like,
yeah.
surprisingly mature for a show that's supposed to be intended for between like 6 to 10 year olds.
Right, called Extreme Ghostbusters. like that show tackled a lot of shit, and it was, listen, that was like one it was it's 52 episodes, but it's one season because that's back when they did ungodly like amounts of time,
Just
right?
like Power Rangers to do the same thing
Yeah.
for the season.
But what a show that would, honestly, I want a reboot or something. Like it deserves, like, I don't, that show was just like ahead of its time. It was, again, it's just as impressive as the movies. It felt more like the movies than real Ghostbusters did.
Mhm.
Which is again, we talked about it. It puts a little more of that bite in there and stuff like that. Which, what I've always loved about Ghostbusters is I've never seen it purely as a comedy. Like, a lot of people were upset when the last movie came out. They were like, "Oh man, this isn't a comedy. Why isn't it as funny as the other ones?" Which, Ghostbusters Afterlife,
The one where they brought back the older cast and they had the kid.
yeah, yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife was basically the Force Awakens for Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but
If you will.
because the reboot went way too far to just be jokes all the time.
It was so that was very, and again, and I liked the 2016. I thought, I was like, it's
Mhm.
this probably at the time I was like, this is probably all I'm ever gonna get, So I got Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and I got this, and it wasn't my favorite, but I took it as an homage. It was like, this is an homage, and now they should go off and do something else, right? Although I was ready for the sequel when they set it up. They set it up to be they were gonna do Gozer again or something at the end of it, but I have never just seen Ghostbusters as this, like, oh, it's for funny haha time. That's all it
Mhm.
is. It's always, to me, been horrifying situations. It's horror movie situations with, you've got guys who write for SNL in there, like guys who are like funny enough to write for SNL, like in there. Like, if you put funny people in a scary situation, they're going to crack jokes. I don't want to say I'm a funny person, but I am a person who likes to make jokes. If in that situation, I'm going to be making the jokes
Yeah,
and stuff because I'm like trying to ease the tension and stuff for myself and the people around me. But like, I love that. And it's always been like the big stakes of the world's going to end. We got to stop this demigod from destroying the earth. And then people are like, why do they not make more jokes? Why do they not talk about like someone not having a dick in this one? Like, what's going on? Like, it's just, yeah. Anyway, all that to say, I'm very happy that Ghostbusters is having its due again. I'm very excited that you are liking Extreme Ghostbusters because,
yeah,
again, that show is very near and dear to my heart, and it is a crime that it is not available, more easily accessible
yeah.
to people. Like, I would buy that entire series in a heartbeat,
Yeah.
if it was available.
Like I like that they brought Janine and like obviously she's desperately trying to get Egon's attention, but he's just the science man. Like he's like a more like he's like one aspect of like Mr. Fantastic of just being obsessed with science, and that's it.
Right.
But yeah, I'm glad they brought back the same voice actor who also did the Brain from Pinky and the Brain. He's great too. Um, but yeah, like to me, I feel like I wouldn't have continued the series if it wasn't for Kylie. Kylie is my favorite character. Period. I think she has the most rounded person in the
Yeah.
series.
Kylie has a lot of depth because you have that immediately thing at the beginning of the series where it's like she recently lost her grandmother, who
Yeah.
was seemed like her grandmother was kind of into the occult a little
Hmm.
bit, which again, an occultist character who isn't during the like this is towards the end of the Satanic Panic, but still
Yeah.
to have Kylie as a character in a show like this where it's like she's an occultist but she's a good like she's a good like she's a good person, she's a very well, like you're saying, well-rounded character. That's unheard of for that time, you know, like it was back in the day it was like people were like terrified of anyone like
And
that.
a lot of times, a lot of shows from back in the day were just like, we have all the cool guys and the girl. And
Yeah,
the girl just does nothing.
she was the one with the knowledge and
Yeah, and she
everything and
also
all
had the
that.
tech.
Yeah, she was the badass, man. They're like, yeah, she had the cool trap on her back and everything like that. Um, yeah, no, to have like her as a character, who's again a very strong female character as shows go, but also to have I don't she all the characters on that show feel real
Mhm.
for as old of a cartoon as it is, and the quality of animation and stuff, which again it's 90s animation,
Yeah,
hand drawn.
it's up and down. Like sometimes it's just like, oh, that looks really good, and sometimes it's just like Kylie's eyebrows are going way too low.
It's like if they had like a better budget or something, like just what they could do.
Yeah.
I just so there are a couple of new series coming out. Apparently, there's at least one animated series and an animated film that's supposed to be in development of Ghostbusters. So I'm excited to see what they do, and I just hope they take more uh, inspiration from stuff like that. Like do
Mhm.
stuff like that. Like make it kind of creepy and scary, but you add the lab. Don't go in making a comedy. Go in making it's a kind of creepy adventure with funny people, with fun people, and interesting characters.
See, I
So
think a great idea would be to take some of these character archetypes because, like, let's be honest, the main focus is just like you need cool and enjoyable characters that hunt ghosts and they have the car and they have the guns. Like
right.
it doesn't really matter what the character's name is. Like obviously people love the legacy, and I think a big part of it is nostalgia factor. But I think this is something that you could do with just totally new characters completely. Like
Oh yeah.
I would like an idea, like maybe I'll do like a little fan script of just like I would like the idea of like what if these are just completely different characters and it takes place in a completely different country. Like we get to highlight a different culture, but we still like
Right.
bring in the American accessible humor. Uh,
Right.
yeah.
There is, I don't know if you keep up, but there are comics. I have not read this one, but there is a Ghostbusters International comic
Okay.
that is interesting that might be up your alley, honestly.
Mm.
But like, no, I like that sounds fantastic and stuff like that. Like, I want Ghostbusters to be this thing that most people are like just leave it in the 80s. I would love for Ghostbusters to get its own world building and things like that. Like you don't have to stick to the comics and everything like that, but just like I want them to get to the point where they're doing some world building
Yeah. I
and
mean,
fleshing it out, right? It doesn't always have to tie to those guys from the
the
80s.
first two movies, yeah. Like, and I think I think Ghostbusters has like a more severe crutch of like what Power Rangers has, where like anything that's being sold is just like, oh, it's Mighty Morphin, it's Mighty Morphin. It's like there
Mhm.
are like dozens upon dozens of different series and like soft reboots where it's technically in the same canon. I'm like, do that with Ghostbusters. Like, it can't just be Egon and this guy and that guy. Just
Right.
like you gotta learn to just do something different. Just like think of this as like a property that you can, do something fresh.
Right. Right. And so with the new film coming out, it's supposedly dealing with haunted objects, which I
Okay.
find interesting and things like that. And again, we had that poster they released with the icicles coming off the logo, which was interesting. I think they're going to take it in an interesting direction. And I love the new like Paul Rudd is fantastic. Carrie Coon's great. I love the kids. Podcast is my boy. I love podcasts so fucking much. I hope that he's like a big part of. I think he's in it. Yeah, he's in it. He was in it. But yeah, add more, like get more, or have someone open another franchise in Chicago or something. You know, like I want to see, like, because they talked about the franchise rights and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
see, like, oh, someone opened one up over in like, you know, Detroit or something. Like, let's see someone opened one over in San Francisco. Let's see how things are going over there, kind of a
Yeah.
thing. So, and I think they're heading there, but like you said, like, and more than just America. Let's go. Let's see across the world and everything like that. I would love to get some new characters in there, some fresh ones.
Like,
But anyway,
yeah, like if I was gonna do like a writing pitch, I was just like set it in India.
yeah,
Yeah, a
it'll be
whole different
fun.
flavor of a different culture. You can bring in different races, religions, but not have that be like a super linchpin. But you can, like, a lot of them have their own folklore around ghosts. You can play
Right.
with that endlessly.
Oh yeah. It's oh absolutely so good. Like I would love to see, like, yeah, I'm with you. I want to see that kind of fleshed out in other areas for sure.
Mm.
And I just love it. Like, honestly, I think that is goes to the spirit, I think, of what Dan Aykroyd went to create, right? Because Dan Aykroyd himself is like a paranormal investigator. Like, he comes from a family of people who are like paranormal investigators and things like that. I don't know if you knew,
Mm.
like, he's like big into that kind of shit. And like, I just think, like, to go to other regions and like talk about like the thing, like the folklore and the things there would be so like endlessly interesting. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so I think we should start wrapping up and talk about what the Glut Shadow is.
Okay. Okay. I'm
Okay.
ready. I'm excited. I'm excited to find out who this Glup Shadow is
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah. Every episode I do Glut Shadow. You ever heard of Manili Tun?
Manili Toon.
Yes, it's Manili is spelled Maneeli.
Okay.
You need to type it in. I got a picture for you, and I can explain what it
You
is.
get a pic for me here. Okay, I was gonna say I was gonna do a quick Goog, but uh, I'm interested. I don't think I have. I don't think I ever have. Oh, ooh, interesting. Right. Well, they're the Paulus Massa guys.
Yes,
Which
I
specific
have.
one is this? Is this the one that walks and stands beside Obi-Wan and points? Or
This is the one that manipulates a hologram and says nothing. but for people that don't know what the hell we're talking about, so this is a Kaladahan male from Polis Massa. Tun was a telepathic sign language user and a member of the archaeological research team and their medical team that delivered Padme's twin babies. So,
that
no sign language. Telepath,
yeah.
archaeological team, medical background. Like that's a huge resume right there.
I'm still stuck on telepath. Like, that's, I mean, come on. Just someone I'm just a casual telepath. No, you have the force? Nah, I'm just a telepath.
Yeah, and like now
Okay.
in the sequel trilogy era, Hondo, which is only 1 year, Hondo Anaka uses Tun's stolen identity to get into Black Spire Outpost. That's the
Really?
last information we know about Manili Tun. We don't know Manili Tun is dead or not. So Polos Massa, for those who don't know, is just a set of asteroids, and that's where we see Padme give birth at in Revenge of the Sith. And that's the one time we see the character. And if you want a close up of this character, we get these tiny, beady pupils, which are a bit disturbing.
They're a little, yeah, like, is that the face, or is that a
Yes, that is the
mask
face.
over the face?
That is the face.
Okay.
This creature race doesn't seem to have a mouth on their face. Maybe they're like lobsters; they have an internal mouth.
Terrifying. Or maybe it's like one of those, like, what's the creature? Maybe it's like, it looks like the thing from Spirited Away.
Oh,
Where it's
I
like,
knew exactly what you were about to say before you said it. You're talking about no face. where you just like
The
lift the
yeah,
mask in the neck, and then there's a big mouth. You can
there's a
just do
mouth
many
in the
things.
neck. It's a neck mouth. He's got a neck mouth. That's what that guy has, right? Sure. That's
Yeah,
my headcanon now. I mean, he could eat through photosynthesis. I don't know. He's a telepath. Maybe he
yeah,
feeds on people's life energy.
yeah. Like I've slowly become really obsessed with these Polis Masses guys. Like they look so weird. They have like a rubbery neck scarves. Like the outfits, I'm just like I don't know how to make sense of it. I
No,
just don't.
it's that's 100% just like a hey, this design kind of looks cool. Let's put this one in there.
Yeah,
Which get is great. That's why I love Star Wars. I love all of these
it,
like
it was one of
incredible
the
weirdos.
is one of the storyboards that George Lucas put a highlighter to. Like, yeah, I want that one.
Yeah, I like this guy with no mouth right
Uh-huh.
here. Beady eyes reminds me of my cousin. I love it.
But yeah, like just odd bloke. I want more of the race.
Yeah.
Let's get the Polis Masses guys in the fourth season of Mandalorian. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Like fourth season Mando. Let's have them. They could pop up in Ahsoka. Who knows? I don't know if they are in there, but like that would be kind of cool. No, this guy, and again, apparently the goat. Like without this guy's careful manipulation of holograms, we wouldn't have Luke and Leia, right? Like he helped deliver Luke and we wouldn't have the entire original trilogy were it not for this guy. Like it would have ended like in like 1 hour. Like 1 hour it would have been done.
Even though I think it'll be a bit messy, I think Obi-Wan could have delivered the babies. Like,
You think so? I think
I think it's
yeah, like in
possible.
the back of like a Coruscant air taxi or something. Like,
Yeah, or like one of the ladies that gives birth in like a bathtub.
right, absolutely. See, but then Padme would have been fine, right? It was just like we're doing bathtub birth and everything. We're good. Like
Yeah,
we're fine.
we can use a lightsaber to cut the umbilical cord. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it's all good. Perfect. It's just perfect.
All right. So I'm going to leak at least well, probably 3 videos of what we've been talking about this SSW network or Bombadcast. Maybe you can, maybe whoever's watching can figure out who's James Murat. We don't know.
James Murat has been evading capture for too
Yeah.
long now, and we will figure out who Jameson Murat is. We
Uh-huh.
will find you.
Yeah.
We will find you, and I don't know what'll happen after that. You'll probably become another one of our producers, Jameson.
It's
So
like is Jameson Murat in a cave in Afghanistan? We don't know. We can't confirm.
no one's
We need to go
no
to our
he could
intel.
is he in a spider hole like Saddam? Nobody knows. We don't know. It's all up in the air right now. But when y'all will be the first to find out on Bombadcast if we ever find Jameson Murat. So but yeah, no, Bombadcast is it's weird. Check it out.
Well, it was great having you, Jerry. Maybe
So
I'll
good
have
to be
call
on.
that next time. You'll have your other half.
Well, listen, good luck with that one. Because I mean, you think I'm a handful. Scotty is just like he's two handfuls and a half. So, but no, Eric, thank you so much for having me on, man. I'm seriously thankful. I'm grateful. I've had a great time. Seriously.
All right. Well, with that, this was Honest to Claude, and we love you. Catch you later.